Hello students and welcome to a new episode. This is episode 3 covering module 1, unit 1, in which we will focus on grammar. In today's episode, we will be tackling 3 main branches of grammar. We will be going over the basic parts of speech. We will cover the present simple tense and the past simple tense. Let's start, shall we? To begin with, the parts of speech. In today's lesson, we are going to focus on 4 main parts of speech. We have nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Let's go through them one by one. Now, nouns. What are nouns? Nouns are words that name. They could be things, for example, table, chair, places, Kuwait, Dubai. They could be people, Ahmed, Ali, and they could also be animals, cats or dogs. Let's take an example here. Ahmed is driving a car. There are 2 nouns in this sentence. Can you identify them? Yes, we have Ahmed and car. Let's take another example. The cat is in the garden. Again, we have 2 nouns in this sentence. Cat and garden, animal and a place. What about verbs? Verbs are words that show an action. You are doing something here. For example, blowing, skating, sleeping, eating, dancing, drinking. These are all verbs. Let's take an example. The girl is sleeping soundly in her bed. There's an action that is being done here. What is the girl doing? She is sleeping, and that's our verb here. Moving on to adjectives. What are adjectives? Adjectives are words that describe nouns. Let's take this example. I dream of having such a fast car. Now, in order to identify the adjective in this sentence, we need to first locate the noun. Where is the noun in this sentence? Car. Good. Now, how is the car being described? It is being described as fast, and that's our adjective here. Let's take another example. Tigers and lions are wild animals. The noun in the sentence here, we're going to focus on animals. How are the animals being described? Remember, adjectives describe nouns. Our adjective here is wild. Good job. Moving on to adverbs. Now, adverbs also describe, but what do they describe? They don't describe adjectives. They're different than adjectives. So they describe verbs. They describe the action itself. Let's take this example. The athlete is running quickly to win the race. In order to identify the adverb, let's locate the verb here in this sentence. We have running. How is the athlete running? Is he running slowly or quickly? So our adverb in the sentence here is quickly. Let's take another example. Soldiers defend their countries bravely. Where is the action in this sentence? So soldiers defend. Our verb is defend. How are they defending their countries? How is their action being described? It's being described as bravely. So that's our adverb here. Let's look at this task. This is a paragraph from the text on page 14 in your student book. You're going to read the paragraph and circle the following parts of speech. So let's read the paragraph together and try to identify 2 nouns, 2 verbs, and 2 adjectives. In an interview with the Kuwait Times, Lamis explained the main reasons for her adventure as a desire to escape the familiar and to embark on a cultural quest. The experience created a deep connection and bond between the team members. Kuwait's first North Pole skier, Lamis, is an inspiration for all those who seek an adventurous life. Let's look at the 2 nouns that we have in this paragraph. So we have the noun interview, and we have Kuwait Times, which is the name of a newspaper. What about verbs? Can you locate any verbs in this paragraph? Yes, sure. Let's look at the verbs that we have here. Lamis explained, so that's the action that she did. Our one verb here. And as you can see, the experience created a deep connection. That's another verb. What about adjectives? Remember, adjectives describe nouns. Can you look for any adjectives in this paragraph? Yes, we have deep connection and adventurous life. That's another adjective here. Moving on to the second part of today's episode, the present simple tense. Do you remember the present simple tense? Well, let's go over the present simple tense step by step. The present simple tense is used to express habits, facts, thoughts, and feelings. It is also used with general statements and actions that are repeated. Let's look at some of the examples that we have here when using the present simple. We watch television regularly. I always get up early in the morning. These are habits. So you're going to use the present simple tense when you're talking about your habits. Water freezes at 0 degrees. The earth moves around the sun. These are facts and truths. So you will use the present simple tense when expressing facts and truths. We come to school by car every morning. We visit our grandparents every week. So these are repeated actions. You do them regularly. Again, you're going to use the present simple tense for repeated actions. How is the present simple formed? Let's take this example. I work in London. Let's look at the verb work. It is the base form of the verb. So you are going to use the base form. For example, work, drink, eat. That's the part of the verb that you're going to focus on. There is one thing that we do when talking or using the third person singular when it comes to the present simple tense. When you use the third person singular, he, she, and it, you add an S to the base form of the verb. So you will have something like, Ahmed is my brother. He works in London. What did we do here? We added an S to the base form of the verb. There are some keywords that you need to keep in mind when it comes to understanding the present simple tense. And these keywords will help you identify a present simple sentence. They are always, often, usually, never, sometimes, and every. So whenever you see words, these keywords, you will know that this sentence is in the present simple. Now, if we want to create a positive present simple sentence, this is how we write the sentence. You start with the subject, followed by the base form of the verb, followed by the object. So, Ali plays tennis every week. Can you see a keyword here in the sentence? Yes, we have the keyword every. So I know that this sentence is in the present simple. What if I want to write a negative sentence? I start with the subject, followed by don't and doesn't, followed by the base form of the verb, and then the object. Now, when do I use don't and when do I use doesn't? Use don't with I, we, they, and you, and doesn't with third singular pronouns he, she, and it. So Ali doesn't play tennis every week. Let's take this example. A polar bear eats fish. So as you can see, we added the S to the base form of the verb. A negative sentence would be, a polar bear doesn't eat penguins. Let's take another example. We sometimes work on Saturdays. A negative sentence would be, we don't work on Fridays, or we never work on Fridays. As you can see, we have a keyword here, the word never. Now, I want to form questions with the present simple tense. How do I do that? I start with question words, either what, when, why, where, or how. Then I add my helping verb, do or does, followed by pronouns I, you, he, she, it, we, they. And finally, your main verb, which is the infinitive. And then you have your question here. So let's look at the examples. Let's form a question on this picture. The girl plays tennis. So your question will be, what does she play? We started with the question word, followed by the helping verb, then our pronoun, and then the main verb. Moving on to the past simple tense. Can you recall how do we form the past simple tense? Or when do we use the past simple tense? Let's go over the basics. Now, the past simple tense is used to show that a completed action took place at a specific time in the past. For example, we finished our project yesterday. I moved to my new house in 2015. These are completed actions in the past. You are done from these actions. So you're using the past simple here. Now, how is the past simple formed? You use the past form of the verb. So remember, we said present simple, you use the base form, but with the past simple, you use the past form of the verb. For example, I baked a cake yesterday. There are some keywords that you need to keep in mind when looking for a past simple sentence. They are last, ago, past, and yesterday. Let's look at some positive and negative sentences for the past simple. To form a positive sentence, you start with the subject, followed by the past form of the verb, and then the object. For example, Ali played tennis yesterday. What about a negative sentence? You start with your subject, followed by didn't, then the base form of the verb, and then the object. Ali didn't play tennis yesterday. Let's take this example. He went to the gym last week. What if I want to write a negative sentence? I could say, they did not go to the cinema. Did you see what happened to the verb here when we created a negative sentence? We went back to the base form of the verb when writing a negative sentence for the past simple. The past simple question. How to form questions with the past simple? You start with question words, either what, when, why, where, or how, followed by a helping verb, did. Then you add your pronoun, I, you, he, she, it, we, or they. And finally, your main verb, infinitive. The same way as the present simple, but we changed the helping verb to did. Let's form a question on this picture. What did he study? So what did you start with? You started with the question word, followed by what? The helping verb. Then you had your pronoun and the main verb, study. Let's go over this task that you can find in your workbook, page 10. The task tells you to fill in the blanks with simple present or simple past. Number 1, the children played outside yesterday. This is an example here. So we have a keyword here. What's the keyword? Yesterday. So we know it's an action, it's a completed action in the past. So we're going to use the past form of the verb. What about number 2? She usually read the newspaper in the morning. There's a keyword here. Can you figure it out? Excellent. Usually. So it's done on a regular basis. So we're going to use the present simple. She usually reads the newspaper. Number 3. I do my homework last night. There's a keyword here. Last. So it happened. The action happened and it finished. So I did my homework last night. Number 4. I eat my dinner 2 hours ago. Again, this action is done. We have the keyword ago. So I ate my dinner 2 hours ago. Number 5. They watched TV last Monday. Another keyword here. Last. So they watched TV last Monday. Number 6. I not like spaghetti. You're expressing your dislikes. I don't like spaghetti. Number 7. My mother usually cook dinner in the evening. Something done regularly. We have the keyword usually. So my mother usually cooks. Why did I add an S? A third person singular. My mother. Number 8. He writes a letter to his pen friend every month. He does this on a regular basis. So it's the present simple tense. He writes a letter to his pen friend every month. Let's look at another task that you can find in your workbook, page 10. The task tells you to change the following sentences into positive, negative, or a question form. Let's start with number 1. You know the answer. How can I create a negative statement here? So, you don't know the answer. I added don't. What about if I want to ask a question? I start with, do you know the answer? Number 2, he had breakfast at 8 o'clock. Let's change it into negative. What do I add? He didn't have breakfast at 8 o'clock. Excellent. What if I want to ask a question? I start with the question word, remember? What did he have at 8 o'clock? Did, because this is the past simple. Number 3, some schoolgirls don't wear uniforms. This is a negative sentence. Let's write a positive one. Some schoolgirls wear uniforms. And if I want to ask a question, we will have, what do some schoolgirls wear? Episode summary. In this episode, we revised the basic parts of speech. We recalled using the present simple, its form, negative, and forming a question. And we practiced using the past simple, focusing on its form, creating negative sentences, and forming questions. Thank you for watching.